Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
All right, guys, welcome to another session of the Transform Sales Podcast, Sales Software Review. Today we have a special guest. We got Brian Ragoon. How's it going?
Good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for accepting this podcast and for being here. But before we get started, before we spice it up, I do want to get to know a little bit about yourself. If you could share it to me and our audience.
Cool. Well, hello, my name is Brian Ragone. I'm the CEO and founder of Puzzle. We're based in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we've been in business for about 4.5 years now. And just recently launched our software product that we're going to be reviewing today, just about 13 months ago.
Nice. Yeah, today the topic is from static to dynamic, process mapping for scalable operations. So tell us a little bit about that before we get started.
Yeah, of course. So we built Puzzle because organizations use hundreds of software tools today. And oftentimes it can get very, very confusing how all of those systems and processes work together. And so, we tried those whiteboarding tools like Lucidchart and Whimsical and Miro, and those flowcharts are static and they don't give you insights about how you're using your tools across your processes. And it doesn't equip your team with ways to optimize how you're getting your work done across processes. And so we built a purpose-built tool for diagramming your business operations in a relational database for your business operations. So that means we're connecting processes with tools, with people, and with roles in team structure, all in one place.
Awesome. Well, I want to give you a little bit of background of our experience, right? We build like this crazy static diagrams, and we got into the meeting. We knocked down a few topics, and over time, a lot of things started changing, right? And we even felt bad making those changes in the diagram because it looks so nice, right? So next thing you know, there's so many changes going on in the company, but then nobody's relying on those diagrams anymore. It's just something good to have for that meeting. So what happens after, So I feel like this is going to be a great topic, but one of the things that I always like to cover is what are the alternatives that your customers were using. You did mention a few players in the game, but what were some habits that those teams, especially sales teams, were dealing with that kind of started affecting the operations at this point?
Totally. So, the best way to make decisions about changing systems is getting everyone who uses those systems to understand how it can be improved. And the best way to do that is to create a visual. That's how people like to digest information about systems. Because if I told you without a picture how my systems work within Puzzle's operations, you'd either fall asleep or you'd be very, very confused about how it all fits together. And that's why a visual's super, super powerful. But what happens is when you're using Lucidchart, Miro, and something like Whimsical, you have your visual, but you can't write written documentation in it. Because if you do want to do it, you're writing sticky notes, you're putting comments all over the diagram. It gets super, super messy. And you don't really know where software is used across a given process unless you go to the internet, you rip off the logo of all of those tools that you use, and you nestle it into the bottom right-hand corner of your step. It's just way too much effort to get a clean view on, hey, I want to see all my processes and how my tools and roles contribute to those processes. Whip it up. And for someone operating in Miro and Lucidchart, that's going to take hours. In Puzzle, it takes minutes.
No, one of the things that you mentioned is most companies are using more than 130 apps. So when do you have the time to even make that diagram?
Right? Totally. It's tough. And I mean, we're going to look at some of the features that Puzzle allows for, but our integration features with HubSpot, Zapier, and Make allow you to pull in and automatically create steps from those systems. And then you can just click add to add those HubSpot workflows or Zapier Zaps or Make scenarios as synced steps to your diagram. So if you make changes to any of your HubSpot, Zapier, and Make systems right now, Puzzle will alert you and say, hey, there's a new workflow in HubSpot that's not yet on your documentation. You should add it. And it's the only diagramming tool that actually helps you keep your diagrams up to date with what exists in the system.
Got it. And what were some challenges that your customers are running into? I know you mentioned a few, but how do your software help them overcome that? Um,
Mhm. Sure. So one of the main ones is the fact that when folks are documenting their processes, they often have a visual and they have written documentation. And these two things typically live in two different systems. If you're using Lucidchart, Miro, or Whimsical, you have your visual, then you have your written documentation in a document editor, Notion, Google Drive, Coda, you name it, some document
yeah,
editor. And so when you share this with other people and you're like, oh, this is how our system works, they have to flip flop back and forth
yeah,
from the written documentation to the visual and trying to piece those things together. Well, in Puzzle, our written documentation lives inside the step. So you can open the step and then it gets you all of the context that you need about that step. You can embed Loom videos, you can write written documentation, you can tag the roles that are involved. And so it's a document editor that lives within your visual diagram. And that's how it becomes your visual playbook for your business.
got it. So it is also for, I think it's very well equipped for handoffs, right? Because then the video will provide me the training, right? And then I'll know what tools are involved within those workflows, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's tons of use cases. Like if you have new team members who are trying to get onboarded and they want to understand how they contribute to certain processes, you can go into Puzzle and very quickly highlight in the diagram using conditional coloring, which is another feature, and it will
I love
bring
that.
up all of the steps where that role is assigned. So we've thrown the notion of swim lanes out the door because we have a relational database. And I'll get to show you all these features live, but it's essentially giving you X-ray vision into your business operations. You could say highlight all steps where Slack is used, highlight all
Mhm.
steps where LinkedIn or Clay or SmartLead or HubSpot are automated, right? So you can create these conditional coloring and see exactly which parts of your processes use which tools, involve which roles, and which ones
Got
are
it.
automated or manual.
Well, honestly, Brian, I want to see it now. I want to see it now. Let me just go ahead and share screen. Kind of walk
Sure.
us through this. I'm very excited to see this.
Awesome. Awesome.
Let's
So right now we are in a specific workspace, and in this workspace, you can see we're in the workflow canvas. The
Yeah.
workflow canvas is where you can visualize and build out your visual diagrams. And let me just zoom out here real quick.
Hmm.
Right now, we are looking at three different processes. We're looking at three processes that have to do with go-to-market, right? So a LinkedIn monitoring flow that will go into SmartLead to make automated outreach via SmartLead for cold email sequences. We also have a flow right after that that goes into hosting demos using and then using the content from the demo to create LinkedIn content that a founder or a team member could post back on the company page. And then we have custom Gong summaries and follow-ups, which I'll get to in just a bit. But
Yeah.
as I zoom in here, you can see it reveals all of the underlying steps to each process as I zoom in. And what I was referring to when I was talking about clicking into the step, you can see that when I click into this specific step, which is a step that is run by LetterDrop, it's a tool that monitors LinkedIn for certain posts that use keywords that might be relevant to people that you want to reach out to for sales reasons. Um, and it automatically sends that over to Clay. That's what LetterDrop does. But you can see in this sidebar within Puzzle, I've written out all of the details about how this automation actually works, the
Hmm.
keywords that LetterDrop will be looking out for, as well as the step cost calculator, which estimates the cost of the step if it were to be done manually. So you can
Okay.
see that if this was done manually, it would likely take about 5 minutes per, you know, post that we're looking for on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And let's estimate that it happened 50 times per month. Well, this step, if it were manual, would cost us $5,000 per year. So Puzzle right there helps you justify the price of using LetterDrop instead of having your GTM engineer actually do this part of the process. And
Oh,
that's just that step. And so you can already see that, I've walked through a couple of just the step sidebar
yep.
here, and a couple of use cases have already popped up. One, process documentation. You can combine your visual documentation with written documentation. Also, you can justify making decisions about how to improve your process based on who
Wow.
contributes to the process and how much time and how often that process actually happens. So that's just getting started, but we can continue to go on, right? Right after that step, if a post is found that uses a specific keyword, it's going to pass that information over to Clay. And I've opened up Clay's sidebar now, where I've assigned the Clay tool, I've assigned the GTM engineer as the responsible party, and I have documentation for how this step works. And what you'll notice is that there is an ability also to tag attributes. So if you're building a process, it's likely that you're putting data in some system or data is being put in to some system. It's either being pulled out or put in from one
Yep.
system to the next. And so you can actually tag which fields and columns are being changed in each given step here, so that if an automation breaks or a process breaks down, you can always come back to your documentation and say, oh, our last name is being enriched by Clay. How come it's not getting to our smart lead system? So it helps you kind of like debunk and fix errors for what happens in your systems.
Yep. Wow.
Building in puzzles, super easy. So you can see I can add a step from another step. I can also use a shortcut right here with N and add a step. Connecting steps is super easy, right? It's all the same type of functionality that Miro, Lucidchart, and Whimsical have. The only difference is that these are structured components, which means I can say maybe in addition to creating a row in Clay, I want to check if there is a HubSpot contact that exists. And maybe this is also a database step. So you can see I'm using a @tag feature to quickly write and tag the tool that's used, the type of step that it is from the collection of step types, which can be a delay, a delegation, a form, a meeting, a notification. And as I change these things, I get a little indicator in the bottom right-hand corner that also changes with it. And this is ultimately why puzzle diagrams are so easy to understand, is because your business operations is made out of a fixed set of components. There's research, there's meetings, there's documents, there's payments, there's phone calls, there's sequences, there's SMS, right? And so we
Okay.
find what these things are for you, and then you can just click in your process, oh, this is a meeting, or this is a database update that happens automatically. So you can indicate whether it's an automation, a person executes, or an AI agent executes this step. And as I click on these configurations, the diagram updates as well. And so, ultimately our differentiator here is that we've made the inputs for you to make building process diagrams super easy, super straightforward, and very powerful for making decisions about how to streamline your operations.
I'm mind blown. I'm just mind blown. Like I told you, like we use so much different software, and seeing this at that point where we can make decisions on what to cut off, what to add, how to do it better, I feel like that's a game changer, 1000%.
Well, Dave, let me show you the tool canvas real quick, because this
Okay.
usually gets people to geek out.
Oh God.
So the tool canvas is a place where you can visualize your entire tech stack. So you can see I have this search tool button right here. This database of tools, we have about 2,000 tools in here. Anything from Wayfair, the shopping where you buy furniture, to 1Password, to HubSpot, you name it. And if there's not a tool that you use that's in here, then you can just create a new tool. It's a completely community driven database.
Can we try one?
Yeah,
Can we
sure.
try AIM? Let's try AimFox. I've been using AimFox a lot lately.
How do you spell that? Like this?
AimFox. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like this one's not here. So let's go ahead and create
Okay.
this tool.
Okay.
So I'm just going to type in the name here,
Yep.
AimFox. It looks like it's a LinkedIn outreach tool.
Yep.
I'm just going to paste this website right here, and
Uh-huh.
our system will actually automatically go find the fave icon,
Okay.
and we
Cool.
save it. I'm going to just refresh, come back here, and now we have AimFox, and you can add it to your canvas.
One of the things I want to say, Brian, like this is a very good tool to make content, like showing workflows, how we operate as a company. Wow.
For sure. You know, one of the use cases that Clay's internal team uses Puzzle, their enterprise sales team uses Clay to justify Clay to their sales prospects.
Of course.
So they use it as
Wow.
a sales asset to justify what Clay can do for their clients on
At what cost?
at a quantifiable level. So they can
Wow.
literally say you're going to pay this amount for Clay, and that's going to take away, you know, $10,000, $5,000, $20,000 worth of costs, worth of labor costs of you paying people to do that particular step manually. So this tool canvas does some really cool things. Well, first you get this high level tool canvas where you get a list view of all of the active tools that you're using and then the ones that you're considering. So if I click on any one of these tools, we have a tool status. So in this tool status, you can mark this thing as active, meaning you're actively using it in your business operations, canceled, like you used to use it, or you're considering it. I love this considering status because in my personal workspace for Puzzle, I probably have 25 tools that I'm interested in, and I want to plan out how I'm going to use those tools once I'm in a position where I can make that investment. Well, if you add this to your tool canvas, you can go into your workflow canvas and start to architect how this tool will be used across your business operations before you even pay for it. So don't pay for tools until you know exactly all of the steps. So you can see here that I have 4 steps where HubSpot is used here. And once I buy HubSpot, I know exactly which parts of my process will need to be updated. So I can come in here, configure HubSpot, do my documentation. And so it's really a platform made for system-led change management. How can I get my tools to create, you know, outsized results across my processes? And how can I do it before I even buy? Before I even buy the tool, I want to plan and architect how my processes will look, how much money I will save if I make this investment into the tool. So it makes those decisions and insights very seamless.
I have a question. When it comes to the pricing, is scraping data from the website, like the price page, or you're adding how much you're paying for the license?
What do you mean? Do you mean in these pricing cards here?
Yeah. That's based on the pricing page on that software, or that's the pricing that you're paying for that license?
Oh, that's the pricing that you pay for. So you can come here and you can input your cost. So let's say that like maybe I'm you know spending $1,500, and maybe I spend $1,500 every 4 months. Maybe this is every 12 months, and this manual plan cost and annual plan cost will calculate automatically based on your inputs.
Got it. I thought it was scraping it from the pricing page, so it will update that automatically to keep everybody informed. But I figured like that's something you have to do yourself based on what you're looking to purchase, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Wow.
Yeah, so each tool has a sidebar here. Obviously, I kind of skipped through this, but a little bit there's this section here, steps, which I referred to. And this is where the relational database becomes very, very powerful because let's say that I actually want to replace HubSpot. Like I want to leave HubSpot and maybe go to Salesforce or Adio or some other CRM. Well, you can come here and see it's grouped by process, the number of steps where HubSpot is used. And so it's very easy to understand, hey, okay, I need to replicate all of this functionality that I have in HubSpot inside of my new CRM before I migrate. So it makes it easy to understand where specific tools are used across your process.
Got it. So in that way, for example, let's say I wanted to use HubSpot, but in HubSpot there's only 5 things I could use, but in Salesforce there's 8 things I could use. It's a little higher cost, but it allows that whole process to be fulfilled, right? So then I'll
That's right.
consider it. Okay, got it. Perfect. Wow,
Exactly.
that's insane.
So I just hopped over to another workspace that's a little bit more advanced. And you can see in this workspace, we're actually using something called conditional coloring. So within Miro, Lucidchart, and Whimsical, typically you would have to like multi-select specific steps and change the color manually. We've introduced something called conditional coloring. And what conditional coloring allows you to do is you can set specific rules that pertain to your business operations. And because Puzzle is built on a structured database for your business operations, you can see that in green, I have everything where the sales development representative role contributes. And so it makes it very easy, for instance, if I was a sales development representative, to say, which parts of this process actually matter to me? Well, let me just highlight them. Okay, awesome. I'm responsible for this step right here, this step. Okay, that's the one I was looking for, which is creating a quote in QuickBooks. Well, let me go watch that embedded Loom video on the sidebar that will walk me through how to do that part of the process.
Wow.
Conditional coloring is a game changer. I think this feature is an absolute game changer. It gives you X-ray vision. That's what I was referring to earlier. It gives you X-ray vision into your business operations. And no other diagramming tool can do this because their whole products are not built on a relational database between teams and workflows and tools. So let's, for instance, create a new rule. Let's say that I want this to be automated Monday.com steps. All right, so let's do pink. Oops, there we go. In pink, we want the tool is Monday.com, and we want the executor to be automation. All right, and that should be in pink. So I'm going to just go ahead and refresh, zoom in, and you can see in pink, I get to see all of the steps where Monday.com is used and it's automated right here.
Is automated?
Is
human?
automated.
And
Yeah.
what's the other one? AI agent, right?
Yes, is AI agent, right?
Okay.
Yep. So you can filter by any type of executor. There's only a few executors here. There's a person, there's an automation, and an AI agent.
Wow. So let's say, for example, we have a lot of sales agencies in our marketplace, right? This is actually a very good way to justify the cost of service, right? I feel like
Yes.
if you get objection on this is not a fit for you, right?
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of tech companies would benefit from using this type of tool because it does help you justify how your tech can remove labor hours. And
Yep.
the fact is that every single organization, eventually, we've gone through, 2 decades, maybe you could even say 3 decades of digital transformation. But there's a whole new wave of AI transformation that is, on the precipice. And people are just starting to figure out how to put AI in their business operations. And so those AI companies, I mean, their sales teams should use Puzzle to come in here and show people, hey, this step that used to be
A
a person is now an AI agent. And that used to take, maybe 60 minutes for 20 people. And if we had a specific role, like a sales development representative assigned to this step, that's $10K per year that you're paying an SDR to do research on leads when
Holy-
Clay could replace that or something like that.
Wow. I didn't know something like this existed.
Well, it didn't. Not that long ago, it didn't.
Wow, that's insane. This is supposed to be for the audience, and I'm just shocked.
A few more things, Dave, because I love talking about this stuff.
I can tell.
There's a list. There's a list view. So because we're in a structured database, There's a list view, so you can have a tabular view of your entire diagram, which means you can do things like, well, show me all steps that are currently being tested right now. Oh, look, there's this one, interest log step. Let me go to it. Oh, okay, cool. Someone's testing this step. And by testing, I mean there's this step status here, in progress, testing, live, and archived. So this step status allows you to indicate on the step, whether it's live or not. So your business operations team could, have all these potential ways that they would be adding to the process, but anyone coming in here could easily see, oh, this is just under construction. It's not something that's live. But this table view allows you to filter by all of that type of stuff, by testing, by who executes things. You could look at your automations that involve certain tools, like let's say automated HubSpot steps right here. You can see the roles that are associated in a tabular view. And this is all because it's a structured database here. One common question that folks, want to know is, well, how do I share this? Let's say I didn't want to add a bunch of people to this workspace. I just want to share it externally. And it's super easy to do that with public shareable views. So if you can come to public shareable views, you can create a new view. We already have 3 that exist, and you can add specific sections to the view. So you don't have to show the whole map. You can just say, oh, I just want to show the sales process and maybe project discovery, let's say. And then it'll generate a view-only link. So if I send this to you, for instance, you would be able to come here without logging into Puzzle, click on the step, read the sidebar, watch the videos. You'd be able to do everything that a person would be able to do in Puzzle except for edit. And so it makes it really nice for sharing flows externally with clients or stakeholders or, prospects, for instance, in the case of using it for a sales proposal. All of that information is right here. So that's a pretty common question that we get.
Got it. So for example, if I'm an agency, I want to present this to my team so that they can take the next step, or the economic buyer can actually make the decision. You're equipping them to make sure that they have all the information they need in order for them to move forward.
That's right. That's right.
That's crazy. Well, I love that. That was a great demo. We're definitely going to use this tool. So one of the questions that I did want to ask, what are the tasks, deliverables, and or people that are involved in setting me up for success with this tool? So is it going to be a customer success, customer support rep that will be there supporting me, or you feel that the tool is built in a way that I can use it myself in 10 minutes, I'll be ready to execute on a few things? And then the second question that goes after that is, what is your top performing customer support channels? Is it email? Is it chat? Or what would be the best option there for me to be set up correctly?
Yeah, great question. So when you sign up for Puzzle, we are PLG Motion. So you can go right to the website, you can sign up, you can start your workspace, and our tool is built to make diagramming really straightforward, right? That's why those inputs are so, okay, this is a meeting and this is a step type and stuff like that. However, we do have complimentary support meetings. And we also have a support chat at the bottom right-hand corner that we'll get back to you within 24 hours response. We love Loom videos. So if you send us a Loom video, we'll respond with a Loom video, and we'll likely do kind of consultation async through our support channel within the app. If you ever want, premium customer support, where we're like hopping on workshops and giving advice about how to improve your processes and stuff like that, we do have a premium support, which is more of like consultation with us to help you kind of architect your Puzzle workspace. But if you're familiar with Whimsical, Miro, and Lucidchart, and you sign up for Puzzle, I mean, you'll just get into the tool and you'll feel like you're right at home, except with superpowers, because it's really intuitive. We've tried to make sure that our design and our user experience and user interface is up to that standard that Whimsical, Lucidchart, and Miro have, with the added benefit of all of those features that I had showed earlier. So it's very easy to use. If you ever do need support, we're a message away, and we're happy to do complimentary support calls, 15 or 25 minutes. If you're looking for the premium kind of 50-minute workshop model, that comes at an additional price.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
And when it comes to the KPIs that I should look out for to feel like I'm successfully using the tool correctly, what are some KPIs that I should closely look into?
Yeah. Puzzle helps you on a lot of different fronts. So it does depend on your use case, especially
Mhm.
because if, say, you're in HR using Puzzle to streamline your HR processes, the KPIs that you will likely want to see would be different than
Yep.
if a sales or a revenue operations person was using Puzzle and wanting to use it for their own ends. Let's use the sales and revenue example. For sales and
Yep.
revenue, I see it as a way that you can optimize how you use tools to increase the capacity of your sales team. And so there's a few ways to measure that. One is, I think Puzzle will help you decrease your tech stack cost. When I say decrease, I mean eliminate tech stack sprawl or SaaS sprawl, which SaaS sprawl refers to the excess SaaS costs that you're spending across tools that you do not use as much as you think you do. And so
Yep.
you'll be able to get clear on which tools you do use, which ones are proving to be valuable, which ones are not proving to be valuable. And then you can, within Puzzle, plan how to make the tools that you are going to use even more valuable by automating more and increasing your capacity of your sales team to do things faster than they ever have done before, because you're, implementing technology that enables them. And that's ultimately the role of revenue operations, is to enable the sales process, really the whole revenue generation process. But that's the idea. And those are some of the KPIs. It's a diagramming tool, but it's a strategic way that you're using diagrams to make business decisions that help you increase efficiency.
Okay, cool, awesome. Well, what are some, let's say, now that we're focusing on sales and operation, what are some quantifiable outcomes that I would have considering if I decide to use a tool?
Quantifiable outcomes of for sales operations.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would just go back to some of the stuff that I just said about some of those KPIs.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, what you're trying to do is increase sales efficiency and
Yeah.
capacity. And so if your sales rep, if one sales rep, for instance, can typically manage 200 deals at a time, how can we introduce tech and improve the process within Puzzle to allow that person to, properly manage 500 deals, 1,000 deals, using sequences in HubSpot, or, enriching data from Clay, using Claygent to automatically conduct research or find lookalike audiences. And there's so much that you can do with
Yeah.
tech. And so it's kind of second order. Some of these outcomes would be like second order, because really the benefit that you're getting is from Clay and from HubSpot.
Yeah.
But
That makes
but what Puzzle enables you to do is maximize your usage of those tools. So if I were to think about the first order benefits, it really comes down to maximizing your return on investment on your tech tools. That's
Yeah.
really what Puzzle enables you to do. How can I use my tech better to enable my team to increase capacity, increase quality at the same time, and get them to be more productive?
You're right, because I was thinking more on the 30 to 50% faster workflow mapping, but then like you said, there's so many benefits I could get. What if I'm using 10 different tools? Now I'm maximizing the use of 10 different tools. I don't think I even think about the 30 to 50% faster workflows, right? I'm saving money. I'm using everything I can get from that tool. I'm not burning credits on Clay, and I'm actually getting the sales team to focus on what they do best, which is closing deals and building relationships. So
Totally.
awesome.
And some of the incremental benefits that you get from using Puzzle are getting internal buy-in. right? So getting people aligned on how a specific tool works. So what I've seen is a reduction in meetings between teams to say, hey, can you show me how that thing works again? Or, where's that link to that Zapier? I think it broke. Or, all of these types of things to have a visual playbook for your business. A lot of organizations are using it as a way to just go see what, operations is doing when they're a sales rep, and understanding the operations process with what a sales rep is doing and how it impacts each other. And so it does serve as a reference point for people to go see how processes work within the organization and remind themselves too about how a specific step should be done. And it's easier to find information in puzzle in a map because it's within the context of the business. Whereas most knowledge bases are in foldering systems. And frankly,
Yeah.
your business operations does not fit into a foldering system. It doesn't. It's a process. It's a network of information. And that's where that relational database comes in, is because roles are connected to processes. Processes are oftentimes mapped out in sequence. So it's really easy to be like, oh, okay, I'm at the quote part, maybe a little bit further down. This is how I close one a deal. Okay, that's how I do it. I'm going to watch the training right there in Puzzle.
Yeah. Well, something that you mentioned that I think is very important is, in our cases, right, we had bad habits and with certain SOPs. So having so many documentation, going back to them, and then there's moments where you really need them because of time. There's a big client you want to close, and not having that in hand, I think it's very difficult to run a business, right? But having something like this mapped out, seeing exactly what tools are in relation to the process, I feel like that's a game changer for a lot of businesses, right?
Right.
Well, awesome, Brian. So anything else you want to share with the audience? I feel like this was a great session. We do want to see more different use cases. We do want to, focus on other departments that this tool could benefit so we can productize them in the marketplace. But anything else you would like to share with the audience before we go?
Well, the only thing is, if you're interested in Puzzle, you can go to our website at puzzleapp.io, and we have 3 plans. We have 4 individuals plan, which is our lowest plan. We have a plan dedicated for organizations, and then also for agencies. And for agencies allows an agency to build out multiple workspaces very, very easily on behalf of their clientele. And our pricing's available right there, and I hope to see people sign up.
Awesome. Well, guys, those that are watching, I will leave a link to the listing that Brian has for this product, and catch you guys later. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Dave.
being here, Brian.
Cheers.